Hey guys, second episode on my IFS Wraith conversion kit here. Again, this is the IFS conversion kit from Blue Monkey RC. It's a $69 kit, and it comes with all the brackets you need to adapt an EXO front end underneath of your Wraith chassis. You do need to provide your own EXO parts as well as a steering setup out of a Traxxas Slash. First thing I did was I threw in my transmission. Now this is the transmission I built for the I originally built this for my Jimmy's 4x4 truck, but then I used it also in my hit and run Wraith build. Now this is a full bulletproof or bomb-proof transmission from supershafty.com. It's pretty much all of his parts, and then I built it up. Vanquish case, his motor plate, Robinson Racing Stage 3 slipper for a Slash, as well as all steel gears inside, and then extended chromoly 6mm outputs. So the transmission it'll take just about anything you can throw at it, and I don't expect this truck to make it sweat at all. However, I did run into an issue while trying to use that. Now, like I said, it's got extended 6mm outputs. Well, the problem is on the front shaft that it gave me a couple of issues. First of all was I've got some MIP drive shafts in there, which I was using for drive shafts on that hit and run truck. Well, they were a little long, so I had to shorten them up a little bit just on the grinder. Not a big deal, that was pretty easy. However, the bigger issue is with where the servo location is, it sits kind of right here in the passenger compartment. And it sits downward with the servo horn pointing towards the transmission. Well, the issue is that even if I shorten up that servo horn, I still get a little bit of interference between it and it's going to be hard to show you, but between it and the drive shaft bell on that MIP. So that's my issue. Now, there's a few things that I can do there. I can go to a shorter output on the transmission possibly. I still need to work that out. That's a couple of details that we'll just have to, I'll keep working on, figure out exactly what the easiest and best route's going to be. I want this thing to be as bomb-proof as I can. So from there, I moved towards the front end here. Now, I got some new shocks in last week that specifically for this build. I talked to some guys over at Hobbyco, and I said that I wanted a better shock than, you know, just the typical shock that I've been running or a lot of people run, things like that. I wanted something better than, you know, like the G-Mades or whatnot. So they suggested to me the Team Durango shocks. Now these are off of their 4x4 short course truck. These are the 35mm stroke versions. If I let me see, I don't know that I have the I don't have the part number handy, but anyway, they're the 35mm stroke. You'll be able to find them pretty easily. They're a very nice shock. The machining on them is awesome, and the assembly is also very nice. I'm using all of the molded parts for now. There's you can get some upgraded machined pistons and things like that, but the assembly of the lower cartridge is very easy. It's very simple to do, but it feels like it has a very nice design, which I hope will be fairly oil tight, as you always do with your shocks. A couple of other nice things is the shock shaft is built for a small screw to go in the top. You can see there's just a hole rather than the regular C-clip style. It's got a small washer that goes over it first to keep the piston from wanting to slide down the shock shaft, but then the piston slides over that. The pistons are a large diameter, which should give this truck plenty of dampening. One other nice thing about it is just the molding of the pistons themselves. One little thing is that where the parts tree comes in and intersects this piston, it comes on the top side. So even though this is a molded piston, once you clip off the piston and then just clip off that little bit of flashing, you still have a very true outer diameter. You don't have that little area where the molding was, like you do with some of the, you know, like a stock axial shock or things like that. So just little details like that are always nice, and something you can appreciate when assembling a nice shock. I've got one assembled and thrown on here on the truck. This kit asked for a 104 millimeter shock ideally, which this came out right around there. It's, it's about a 4-inch shock, so they're very smooth. I threw some 40 weight oil in there for now, and then the spring on there for now is the spring that comes in the package. However, they also sent 2 of their tuning kits. Now each of these has 8 pairs of springs. There's a soft set and a hard set. So this should give me a bunch of tuning options. Once I've got this truck up and running, I can play with some different spring rates and things like that to just see exactly how I want to dial it in. So I'm looking forward to tuning with those. One little issue was that the shock actually rubs on this upper shock tower from the kit. Now these aren't a extremely large diameter shock, but they are a little bit larger. I don't know that I expected them to rub like that. I don't know. That's just the design of the kit. But it looks like the shock tower to me is laid back a little bit more than just the angle of how the suspension travels. So I think that might have been just a little bit excessive, and maybe could have been avoided by just straightening that shock tower up a little bit. I also did get my steering links figured out. I had to change rod ends. The stock rod ends were way too short. It wasn't anywhere close to being able to work. I mean, I didn't have hardly any steering throw, so I threw on some different steering. Now, one thing I did notice is that this bell crank is pushed back further, which isn't ideal, because as you can see here probably, as I move the as I move the suspension, you do get a little bit of bump steer just because of improper steering geometry. It's pretty minimal. I don't expect it to be a huge issue in the rocks, but you don't get that with the actual Exo steering. So, but the actual Exo steering probably isn't as rigid as this Traxxas bell crank system that I've got on here now. So some give and take with the kit and with the parts that it's designed around. But so far, still having fun with this build. That's all the further I've got tonight. I wanted to get a little bit further than that, but running into those different issues has caused me to slow down. So one thing that I will touch on is the front locker, what I'm going to use on that. This was a tip from Jerry, the DMG. He recommended that I grab a Allen wrench and use that to create my new center locker. This is a 4.5 millimeter Allen wrench, and it slides right through fairly tight on a set screw style locker. This is a grip lock or something like that from Grip Fab on RC Crawler. Die Laughing is his screen name if you want to PM him to grab one of these yourself. But I'll simply slide it through there, tighten my set screws down on it to lock it down, and then I'll cut this to length, and then I'll be able to add my MIP hubs on either side when I throw it inside that front differential case. So it's going to be a super simple little mod, and I'll have my my front shaft done now, because that's been a topic of discussion for a lot of people who are trying to figure out exactly how to put their new front shafts in there. So, and then I can start working on the front end modifications as far as the MIP mod for the front shafts and all that, as well as starting to replace knuckles and carriers and things like that with aluminum parts, so that this thing will hold up to some serious abuse. That's all for tonight. Subscribe to the channel, watch for more videos on this thing, and hopefully we'll get this thing running here before too long. So we'll see you guys later.